So today I will be presenting on the effects of the Tuskegee syphilis study. So this is the top 10 things you should know about the Tuskegee syphilis study. So the first thing that you should know is that the study was done in Alabama, and it was done at the Tuskegee Institute, which was a college down there, and it was done with mostly illiterate sharecroppers as participants, and they were all African American men. And this was done in 1932. So 600 of them were a part of the study, and 400 originally had syphilis, and 200 did not. They were added as the control in the experiment. And the purpose of the experiment, as is described by the researchers, was to see the effects of syphilis in Black men over the course of time. So for this study, no treatment was given. Even at this time, when they did have a compound, it was actually arsenic and a few other heavy metals that were given typically to treat syphilis. And then later, when penicillin came out, they were not given that either. So they were denied treatment the entire time. Similar situations have happened around the world. There's actually a case in New Zealand where someone was checking people for cervical cancer and then not giving them the treatment of a cone biopsy to help fix the problem. So the big problem with this study is that patient consent was not in the study. The patients didn't know what they were being treated for, and they didn't really know what parts of it they needed to be treated for. So a lot of them didn't understand what syphilis was. They were told that they were being treated for bad blood and not for an STI. So surprisingly, this took about 50 years before people started realizing what had happened. So the original study was done in 1932, and it wasn't until 1972 that the press finally gave attention to this study. So someone released a news report in multiple cities about this study. And what that did was it got a school board to review and go over after the fact whether or not this study was ethical. And they decided that because of the lack of consent of the participants and the extended length of the study was originally 6 weeks or 6 months and ended up going to 40 years. They decided that it was unethical. And there's been a lot of pushback against this. Maybe not a lot, but there has been pushback because the participants were given compensation. They were given medical care and other help, even though they weren't treated for syphilis, which is what they thought they were getting. And because of that, there were a lot of public health consequences, some of which were spread of syphilis in the community and death of some of the participants. So now, after the fact, the United States government has given compensation to these participants, which basically includes an extension of the care that they received, this time actually getting treatment for their medical problems, and it has now been extended to their families. So this has completely changed the way that medical ethics work, and now patients are able to refuse care, and for a study, the participant has to be aware of what will be done throughout the study and what will be done to them. And these are the websites you can find that information at, as well as some of the pictures that were given in this presentation.